let's make lemonade. Okay. Let's go to work.
That's the signal. Go. 6. It's beautiful. Mother Nature just pissed her pants, dude!
Start your day with a jolt of energy and no-holds-barred opinions. This is The Rush, where Travis Justice and Ross Peterson bring you bold, unfiltered, and uncensored takes on sports, life, and everything in between. Buckle up and let's go.
Happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome to the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive. Great to be here with you this morning. If you're listening on the audio stream at therushradio.com and the Rush Radio Android app or the TuneIn app, thank you so much. Good morning, YouTubers. Good to have you here with us this morning as well. Hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, and of course, start leaving your comments in the comment section. You can follow us on X, Facebook, and Instagram. He's full of piss and vinegar, everybody. Piss and vinegar.
Not true.
Piss and vinegar, man. Piss and vinegar.
Trav, you know me. Not true. Not true at all. Not true at all. Not full of piss and vinegar. Having conversations. I promise. Not a fight. Not a fight.
Right away this morning. Good morning. Wondering if Ross is calmed down yet. He was a heater on X and Facebook yesterday. Piss and vinegar. The floor is yours. I yield my time.
I don't want no, because I don't want to do this today. We can do this later. We got a fun day planned. We'll have Coach Stepsis on. We're gonna have Bruno on later on. I had posted some opinions yesterday, and then stood by my opinions and shared my facts and why I have those opinions. That's all I swear to God,
no,
that's
Ross,
all I did.
You shared your truth. Truth.
Right. That's a good way to put it. Good way to put it. Listen, I did enjoy yesterday, and I hope that I do enjoy being in that fray. I like being in conversations like that. I like having people challenge my viewpoints and say, hey, why you're wrong. I love it, because then you get to go, no, I'm not wrong, and here's why I'm not wrong. And I did that with attorneys yesterday. I did this with that felt fun. That was really fun yesterday to be challenged, sometimes in rude ways, sometimes in very polite ways, sometimes very respectful ways. I was challenged, and I was able to constantly reassess my opinion and then go, wait a minute, I am right. I know I'm right, and I've got the facts to back up why my opinion is right, and then I can share those. And basically the only thing that I could get back was, well, that's just like your opinion, man.
So it was
fun. I had a fun day yesterday. If you don't, and basically it was about DMPS. There's a bond referendum that's coming up. They're asking for another $265 million of our property taxes to run the worst performing school district in the state of Iowa. And the answer to that is an obvious no. This board has demonstrated their incompetence over and over and over, not only in mismanaging facilities, mismanaging people, mismanaging money, bad, embarrassing hirings that they didn't do the simple stuff on. They've demonstrated their incompetence. The answer is no. There has to be accountability for what has happened here. There has to be. So I won't beat this up, I promise. But I am going to be reminding people.
But I want you to.
But as we get closer and closer to November 4th, I'm going to bring this up a few times. And we might even bring some people on, because, Travis, I have been invited to some awesome stuff. It was so cool, man. Friends of mine that are principals reached out and said, Ross, I would like you to learn more. Cool. I want to learn more. I want to learn more. So I'm headed down to meetings Monday night to go meet with public school officials. I'm going to go on a tour this morning. I'm going to go down and tour what's called Des Moines Prep. It's a non-public high school in Des Moines that just started, because somebody reached out and said, hey, you're interested in this? Come check out some other alternatives. Well, let's learn more. So I'm going to go do that this morning. I'm going to go to tour on Monday. There's some meetings this weekend about this bond referendum and what they're planning on doing. If the money comes across, what their plan is for the money doesn't matter. Accountability is going to be the thing I'm going to be screaming about.
You know, I knew Ross was in a good mood this morning. I mean, Ross had a little pep in his step this morning, folks, and I haven't seen this pep. Well, it comes and goes, but I haven't seen it like this for a long, long time. It was a different Ross this morning, and right before we went on the air, he goes, "I'm back, baby. I'm back. I'm back in my element." Yeah, you were. And to be fair, it's not like you are a parent of DMPS students. And the truth is, it's not like you're in Waukee or Johnston sounding off on something that would not affect you. You live in the heart of Des Moines.
And I love DMPS. I hope everybody understands that too. Man, I love Des Moines Public Schools. I'm a product of Des Moines Public Schools. I've been involved with DMPS. I've tried to raise money for DMPS. I'm not a rich guy. I've done a lot. I've tried to do as much as I can. I volunteer to do the Scarlet Celebration every year for East High School. I help out with the East High Golf Classic. I'm trying to help raise money for Roosevelt High School right now. And by the way, I think that's an important part of this thing is if you want to help the Des Moines Public Schools, it's readily available. I can tell you ways to directly help the students inside of those schools that you're worried about. Directly help the students. Not give money to some giant bureaucracy that's going to mismanage your funds. That's what they're asking for. They want everybody to pool a group of money together so that they have $265 million when they can't manage the $600 million they have right now in the assets they currently have. And I'm telling you, you want to help? Find your local golf tournament that is sponsored by your high school. Find a way that you can donate to the local wrestling team or cross-country team or whatever your thing is. Reach out to the coach and say, what can I do? How can I put money in your pocket so you can make life easier for those kids? Reach out to the principal and say, do you guys have any sort of private slush fund that the district doesn't know about where I can give you cash and I know 100% of that money is going to go help those kids? That's what happens with the East High Golf Classic.
And you know what else helps? And it may seem trivial or simplistic. Mentor a student. You can. There are mentoring programs to where you can have a direct effect on somebody's education too. Yes. I mean, there's a lot of things that go into education, and you can go into that of why some kids underperform and why some kids overperform. But mentoring is also a very valuable way to help out kids in the classroom. You have a bigger effect than what you think you do.
So yesterday, I think there's a lot of people. When somebody says vote no to the Des Moines Public Schools, ask. Right away, people are like, "You hate public schools? You hate kids? Don't understand."
That's the moral high ground. That's the moral high ground.
You're nailing it, Trav. You're nailing. But again, it helps to understand these things. And I told you guys the other day, there's the new number one, and it's victim status. It used to be moral high ground, but now there's this new thing that is edged above it. How you get that moral high ground is you're the first one to scream victim, and that's what they did. Yesterday, DMPS comes out and says, "Hey, by the way, we were victimized." And I hope everybody that's listened to this show went, "Hey, Rostradamus, he told us. He told us that that this is what people do. This is a tactic. They weren't victimized. This is a tactic." And yeah, I love Des Moines Public Schools. Here's some other things folks don't know about me, okay? A couple years ago, I was a part of a committee. I was part of a committee with Connie Bozen, current mayor of Des Moines Public School District, and her and I were two of the East High representatives. Every high school had two or three representatives. We met for a committee. There was a surplus of cash, and they were going to be able to update some schools. And they wanted to get a fair idea of where every school was and how to bring them all to a certain baseline. So as part of that, we got to tour every single DMPS facility.
You mean elementary, everything like that?
Everything, even administrative buildings, everything. We got to go into every bathroom, every closet. We got to see, I saw parts of East High School I'd never seen before, from the absolute rafters down to underneath the pool. I saw every inch of every part of DMPS. So I know what I'm talking about here. There are people that have never done that are weighing in and saying, "Boy, Ross, you're really showing your ignorance here." watch out. Watch out, because I'll demonstrate my ignorance to you. And I'll demonstrate yours back to you as well. And I have no problem doing that in trying to do it in a respectful manner. And that's what I did yesterday. And it felt good. It felt good to fight for something that I believed in, stand my ground, and at the end of the day, look back and go, hey, I
accomplished it. I accomplished something.
I am right. That thought I had and the way I processed this all, yes, this is right. And more importantly, one word, accountability. Accountability. Who's going to be held accountable for this national embarrassment?
What I like about how we started today is that, and I know you're much better working in 180 characters on X. I like to have dialogue like this, right? Because you hear your inflections, you hear your passion, you kind of see where somebody's coming from. But yeah, I just thought it was interesting. The first one is, has Ross calmed down? I said, no, we got piss and vinegar here. We've got piss and vinegar.
I hope this doesn't come across as piss and vinegar.
It doesn't.
Because I really just want it to come across as conversation.
But let's take it back a second.
Yeah.
I think when people hear you right now, they know you're not full of piss and vinegar. When they read it on an X post or a Facebook post,
Trav.
You are interpreting that as, because the guy said, has Ross calmed down yet? So he was interpreting. I was like, vote no for these, and it's all how text, emails, posts are interpreted.
Nailing it. So the disappointing thing in this comes when people that you know, that you think know you, and again,
surprised by your take.
We all project, right? And luckily, I love people, and so when I project,
to a fault, by the way,
when I project, it's usually a good projection. I assume good motives from people. When I read a post, I try to read it in a calm, rational tone. It's amazing. The disappointing thing is when people that I think know me and I think know my intent project their intent onto me. And that bothers me. When I get things that are like, oh, yeah, this is because you're a George Bush Republican. I didn't even mention the crook yesterday. I didn't even mention the fraud. I just talked about the bond referendum, and I waited for other people to go, this is all about Dr. Ian Roberts, isn't it?
Don't call him doctor. Please do not call him doctor anymore.
And then I'd fire back. Be careful. Be careful. I tried to tell people Monday, hey, lot more to come on this. Lot more to come. And by the way, still more to come.
It ain't over, folks.
It ain't over.
It ain't over.
Nope. Sergeant Paul Parizek was on with his wife yesterday, with Heather, right? He does that weekly show. I talked to Sergeant Parizek yesterday for about a half hour. He'll be coming on with us at some point. Again, I really am okay with him waiting until he's got a really full picture about this before he comes on to chat with us. And I know yesterday he's got that weekly thing, and he went and did that, and that's awesome that he does that. What a cool segment. But there's more to come.
I did find it interesting, and I like watching headlines and how things are framed. KCCI and the AP. False Morgan State claim. False. Why can't somebody just go out and say, the dude lied?
Because they're already pot committed, Trav. Because they're already pot committed. We've talked, local news is not news. Local news is not news. When local news is sending you stuff and you click, and when you get a link for a news story and you don't know what community it happened in, and I don't even mean local, I mean state. You get a thing that's like, man struck by car dies on interstate, and you look at it and it's from Virginia. Like, why am I getting this on my local thing? Because there is no such thing, very little thing as local journalism.
Where somebody should have pushed back. Where somebody should have pushed back on the victimization of the DMPS school board.
That's great, by the way. I couldn't have asked for anything better from DMPS. After what I said this week, I couldn't have asked for them to come out and say,
by the way, and I'm using but this could be used if it would happen in a hiring anywhere else.
I try to tell you, this is conversation.
Yes.
Yeah.
You cannot claim victimhood if you did a behind closed doors hiring with no public input, with no public interviews, with no vetting whatsoever. Now, if they would have gone through if they would have had 5 people come up, you have the public hearings where you're able to meet each and every one of them, and you still went through, then you're a victim of getting lied to. You do everything behind closed doors, you're not a victim, you're a participant.
You find out that the guy was lying on his resume. We know that now, too. They knew he didn't have a PhD.
Well, Ross, you don't understand. He completed the coursework but didn't do the dissertation.
Yeah.
You know what the most important part of a PhD is? The dissertation. That's the most important part of the PhD is your dissertation. So you still can't call him doctor.
And
Has Triton University just disappeared? Has it just disappeared?
Remember, I said all of this stuff was found within hours on Friday. I was reading the minutes from his previous school board's meetings that are publicly posted on Friday night that said, this guy can't prove he has a PhD. And, by the way, we're firing this guy because of 3 sexual discrimination lawsuits. Several people were going, hey, we're finding several different birth years for this guy. Several people were writing saying, we don't think that he went to all of these institutions. This timeline for this guy doesn't make sense. Listen,
Netflix is lining up right now going, this is the greatest documentary in the history of documentaries.
The Des Moines Public School District has also admitted they didn't e-verify. Sharkus, how does a government organization not e-verify? They admitted it. They said, oh, yeah, we don't. In fact, the federal government came back and said, we've never seen DMPS ever enroll in the e-verify program.
So you basically just take the paper. No, I didn't know that. So you just take the paperwork and put it in a file cabinet. Well,
the federal government said they don't have I saw that somewhere. I shouldn't repeat this stuff without having the receipts with me because I try to do that too. But I saw that somewhere along the line of like, we don't think they've ever e-verified somebody. But this group that stood up in front of you last night and told you we've been victimized. We knew this guy was lying to us. We asked him not to lie to us, and he continued to lie to us. And then when he continued to lie to us, we took his back. We stood up here last week and told you radical empathy. We need radical empathy for this crook. I mean, doctor. I mean, Ian. I mean,
whoever you are.
Whatever he is, whoever he wants to call himself, it's his truth. Let's let him live it. We need radical empathy, but we've been victimized by this. Your tolerance will be used against you, okay? This is a Alinsky Jiu-Jitsu, Saul Alinsky. This is part of, these are, again, conversation meta, all right? This is mental jiu-jitsu, and this guy named Saul Alinsky mastered it. And one of the things that he said it's kind of like a Sun Tzu type of thing. He tells you how to win the argument, and then he tells you how to be careful not to lose the argument. And one of the things is your tolerance will be used against you. If you have this mindset that everybody gets to live their own truth, then what is truth? That will be used against you. If you're, there you go, Flag's nailing it. Rules for Radicals. That's the name of the book. Rules for Radicals. You want to learn what's happening right now in the culture? Read a book from the 60s where this guy says, this guy said, this is what's going to happen. This is how we're going to win. We're going to manipulate people. We're going to convince neighbors to hate each other. We're going to divide people up, and then we conquer them. Well, guess what part of that we're in, folks? We've been divided. We're in that conquer phase.
And not just at the local level, the big level.
Your tolerance will be used to kill you. Because once you say that, hey, we need to be open to everybody's opinions and ideas and think, oh, okay, well then I've got this crazy opinion. Well, not that far. No, you just said we all get to share our own truth. Why can't I be a doctor? I feel like I'm a doctor. I was pretty close. I was real close. Last night, I went toe-to-toe with attorneys and won. Ross Peterson Esquire, baby.
Yes, that's right.
Hell
you
yeah.
missed your calling.
Yeah, throw that ESQ on there. Huh?
There it is. For the law firm of Peterson, Peterson, and Peterson.
Do we cheat them and how?
Call 515-517-2303.
There you go.
Well, I'm glad you had a fun night doing that, and
I did.
It's always fun getting into respectful debates. It's it's radical candor, should we call it? Radical candor.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, I like that.
There's
good.
actually a book out there called Radical Candor, and sometimes you have to have radical candor, even though it can be uncomfortable. It can be respectful, right? Radical candor can be uncomfortable but respectful at the same time.
There's one other book that I would tell people, Rules for Radicals is really good. Rules for Radicals is like the liberal playbook, okay? Yep. That is, hey, here's how we're going to do all this stuff. There's one on the other side by a guy named Rush Dooney. That's his last name. And it is called The Politics of Guilt and Pity. And it's kind of the conservative version of Saul Alinsky's Rules for Radicals. The Politics of Guilt and Pity. Again, written in like the 50s and 60s. That says, oh, by the way, they're going to eventually make victim status the number one moral high ground.
Oh, we're there. We are there, folks. At all levels, from corporations to sports teams. I mean, if something goes wrong, you claim victimhood and you go straight to the moral.
Look at us. You know what? We know what would fix this? More of your money.
Our goal here is, you can agree with this, you can disagree with this, but I want you to go through your everyday life and pay attention to, especially when disagreements happen, and go, oh, Ross and Travis talked about the moral high ground. We talked about the victimhood, and watch how somebody tries to win an argument against you. And or just you're having a conversation and just watch how fast, this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This guy is, this last superintendent's a great example of how you get manipulated, how they use your good intentions, of, I want to believe in people. I want to believe that these amazing things happen, that this guy is who he presents himself to be. And then you do another big mistake. You put a person on a pedestal. Don't do that. Don't do that. One pedestal, this guy. That's it. One pedestal. And then, but in that, we're all flawed. We're all messed up. We're all going to make big mistakes. We're all going to let people down. And that, I think, was part of this, was that a lot of people had this guy on a really high pedestal. And when somebody starts to chop at that tree, you go and protest.
20 people showed up last night, by the way.
You go and protest a guy that is a demonstratable con man.
But they didn't protest that. They protested ICE.
That's right. Because ICE bad, because Orange Man bad, and I can't, there's no critical thinking. Could ICE possibly do something good? No. I've made my decision. I've picked my team. I'm now going to tribalism. 20 people showed up last night to protest this in the face of all of this information. We know the guy's a liar. We know the guy's a con man. He doesn't have the education. He was making up awards. There's more stuff to come about this guy, and people still show up.
But a radical change from last week when, hundreds, maybe thousands showed up downtown with their organized posters. Then it went down to 20 real quick. Well, I had a good day yesterday. I was in Des Moines yesterday. And, this show is powered by Willis Automotive. And now I can officially say I am a Willis Automotive customer. Yesterday, my wife and I were at Willis Automotive. We picked up our brand new car. And Ross, just let me tell you, I've never had a car buying experience like this in my entire life.
Good or bad?
Very, very good. Different from here. Good. No, and what? Usually when I buy a car, I go to the lot, I look at a car, I test drive it. This was all done. I found a car I liked. We missed out on it because we saw it at the new car show.
Yep.
And I was so disappointed. But they were quick to find one that was similar, cost a little bit more, but it was one that we liked. It took place over the internet. I sent pictures of my trade-ins. They gave the offer. The only time I talked to a salesperson who's Ryan Gilmore. Ryan is great, by the way. He's been with Willis for 12 years. Think about that. When you're a salesperson for a family-owned organization for 12 years, that shows you how much the Willis family takes care of you, right? But all we did was email and text. I show up yesterday. Bobby comes out, and he takes me. He takes me on the track. They could
do that.
I got to do the track.
You didn't tell me this.
Yes, I got to do the track.
When we were there at the new car expo, that's when Carl said was like, "Hey, Bobby, can he take it on the track?" And Bobby went, "Oh yeah." And then we were both. I was like, "What?" You even said, "You're like, what's the track?" They're like, "They have like an off-road track."
See, and I heard it differently. I'm like, "Oh, you've got a track out there for test drives." So I'm just thinking, it was like
a little Iowa Speedway.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So I
got a little 8-mile track.
Well, because there's that industrial area right behind there, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
So I'm like, oh, they've got like a half-mile oval out there. We're just going to go out there. What a really good way to do a test drive.
Great.
Yes, I mean that's what I'm thinking, right? Bobby goes, hop in. Let me show you what this thing can do. I'm like, oh, we're gonna go on the track. We're gonna get up to like 100 miles an hour on the straightaway, and then we pull up on this hill of rocks, and I'm like, oh, we're going off roading.
I knew that's what when he said. I remember Carlstead saying, maybe he told me that, or I picked up on that it was like an off road. It could show the durability and the shock system and all that.
Oh yeah,
dude, is it? Oh, I wish I'd have been out there.
I was at one point. We're going up a hill, and you're almost at like an 85-degree angle, and he turns the camera. I'm serious. I don't think I've been on a hill this steep. Then he turns the cameras on, and you can see how close you are to the edge. I'm like, oh, that's really close, And I'm just like, and my brain is, I want to go Jason Willis. You can make money off this, right?
You could let people out here, have them pay you to come ruin their cars.
But I think it would have to be, hey, you get to do a ride-along. You don't get to, unless you pass some kind of certification, we're not going to let you do the track. But I'm like, you could charge $10 a pop here and just donate it to charity.
Mick and his Jeep buddies?
Yes.
If you told them, hey, we have this designed course that you can really come out, they'd do that. Mick is listening right now. I see him commenting. Mick, what is the percentage of grade that you guys can feel like comfortable going up? Because obviously 85 ain't happening like that. I mean, that's a joke.
It was pretty close.
But dude, I remember with my old Jeep one time off-roading, we came up on this monster vertical hill. And my Jeep was full of people, and we pulled up on it, and some people freaked out. And they're like, we're going to roll. My one buddy, Josh Alton, was like, I'll do this with you. So everybody got out of the Jeep, and he climbed in the front. I'll never forget it, dude. We're just getting ready to go. He turned his hat around. He looked at me, and he goes, hey, we're going to do this, right? I'm like, I think so.
This is like in A River Runs Through It when they shoot the chutes.
You're like,
here we go, boys.
And we did it, dude. But I swear to God, at one point, it did feel like that Jeep was at 85 degrees.
So we come down the track, and there's like a different, like, so he stops. He goes, okay, he turns the cameras on. He goes, look, the right wheel isn't on the ground. It has evened out with its suspension and air. I was just like blown away. So, I mean, I got to go through the track. And people need to understand about me. I'm not a car guy, right? I don't sit there. I didn't know what a Defender was until we went to the new car show. Had no idea what it was. And I'm not going to be
by the way. I didn't know that Land Rover made cars like that.
Yeah, and so I'm not going to be off-roading this. I'm happy that it's going to get around in snow. Then my wife, who's behind me, shows up about an hour later because she had to work yesterday. Bobby goes, want to go on the track? So he takes Anjanette on the track. And to me, that's a different experience you don't get at a dealership. Yeah. And then so we went through the paperwork and all that stuff. That got in fairly quickly. And then cars are different now. And I've always had kind of older cars. Bill's a good dude. Bill is a good dude. He had to stay late. We didn't get out of there till after 8 o'clock last night.
Oh, my God.
Because it took about 45 minutes to an hour to go through the electronics of how to operate your touch screen and get the everything set up. And Anjanette's like, I'm going to forget all this stuff. He goes, just play around with it. You have a basic knowledge of it. But and even Anjanette goes, man, I've never had an experience like this. And I'm just telling everybody, I can now verify with personal experience of what you're going to get at Willis Automotive. And I'm not saying you have to buy a car like I did, but they have so many different makes, models, brand new, pre-owned cars. Even Jason Willis came out to say hi, which was really, really cool. And I could not be more satisfied with my purchasing experience at Willis Automotive.
That's awesome.
All right,
I want to share one for you before we go because
okay.
BJ just shared this memory and did this. This is such a great one. So I had that old Jeep that I loved so much, that Jeep Wrangler. Yeah. And I would take it. I had my own little course. I didn't know about Willis at the time. I'd just gone out there and said, hey, let me drive around out here and save some money and not get this thing stuck in the mud. I can tell you the day that this happened because it was my brother's birthday. So it would have been May 6th, May 8th of 1999. I'm coaching Little League. I'm 20 years old. I'm coaching a group of 15-year-olds, right? So, I mean, they're my friends. They weren't kids. We had a rain out. And one of my players, BJ, and a couple other kids, their parents were like, well, hey, we got something was going on. I remember they were like, kids are yours for a couple of hours. We got rained out. What do? I took the kids off-road.
Which today would be frowned upon.
Yeah, it probably was frowned upon then. Glad they didn't look around the Jeep.
What's that flower on the floor?
Yeah, don't worry about it. Got the Jeep buried in the Runnels River bottoms. Got it stuck. Had to call my brother and say, hey, first of all, yeah, like BJ says, got it stuck in the river bottoms after a rain out. Had to walk about 2 miles. Called my brother on his birthday, his 25th birthday. He drove down. He had this giant truck in 2-wheel drive. He drove down into the river bottoms, went around my Jeep, and pulled it out all in 2-wheel drive. And the only thing he said to me, he rolled down the window, looked out the window, and said, keep your toy out of the mud.
Keep your toy out of the mud. I like it.
Thanks, BJ. I needed that, brother. I hadn't thought of that in a long time, buddy.
Hey, if you're watching on YouTube right now, go ahead and scan that QR code because I'm wearing a Rush hoodie. This is a premium hoodie that you can find just by scanning that QR code. We'll take you right to our merch store. If you're listening on the audio stream, just go to therushladio.com, click on the merch tab, and you can pick up some Rush Radio merch. Support the show because we like to support Can Play Iowa, where 15% of the sales go to Can Play. Also, if you're looking for something to drink this weekend, Central City Liquors has what you're looking for. If you're going to the game, if you're having a party, more than 165 single malts, 130 tequilas, and 50-plus bourbons on hand. They also stock mixers, wine, spirits, beer, seltzers, and everything you need at Central City Liquors.
Central City Liquors, a store you can feel.
That's right.
You walk into Central City Liquors, and you're going to go, yeah.
I'm home, baby.
This is it.
I'm home.
This is it. What do you need? Do you want a super rare bottle of scotch to impress a client or a boss or somebody or a neighbor? Or do you want some Mad Dog?
Because we got it for you.
They got it.
It is the Rush Radio Show powered by Willis Automotive.
The Rush Radio is now on the free TuneIn app, allowing you to enjoy the show on Apple products and Android Auto. Download the free TuneIn app and search The Rush Radio to take Travis and Ross wherever you go.
Your house wasn't built for bats, birds, or raccoons, but try telling them that. At Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions, we've been helping Iowans take back their homes for over 20 years. We use cost-effective, eco-friendly methods to solve wildlife and pest problems the right way. Whether it's bats in your attic, birds in the vent, raccoons in your chimney, or moles in your yard, we have long-term solutions. Call Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions today at 515-218-3400, and let's make sure your home doesn't become their home.
There's more Iowa in the Iowa Tap Room than you may realize. Housed in a building nearly as old as Iowa itself, the Iowa Tap Room greets you with a harvest of 120 Iowa craft beers on tap from all corners of the state. And the food doesn't get much more Iowa than this. The Iowa Tap Room, all Iowa beer, one amazing place.
There's always something new at Fong's Pizza. The patio is open and ready for you, your friends, and an ever-changing menu of tiki drinks. Or try our new noodle dishes alongside your favorite slice. It's all happening this summer at the new Fong's in the East Village.
Thinking about buying a home? Get pre-approved in 30 minutes with Gary Presnell at Northwest Bank in Des Moines. Gary offers first-time home buyers programs, VA, FHA, IFA, and conventional loans. Call Gary at 515-975-6767 or find his profile at nw.bank. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
You know, Brian, at Central City, we really do have the best selection around.
I know. High-quality stuff you can't find anywhere else.
Whistle Pig Plantation Rum.
Yeah, and over 150 of the best scotches on earth.
And a ton of bitters, mixers, and more.
You know what we are? High class.
Definitely high class, yeah.
Make way for the natty.
Okay, maybe medium class.
Central City Liquor is home of the 10% cash coupon.
And the Wooden Nickel program.
A fuel choice that even rivals can agree on? Now that's worth the hype. Cheaper, cleaner, and homegrown. Pump it up with Unleaded 88.
After Hawkeye football games this fall, Travis and Ross are right where they belong, with you taking your calls and giving unfiltered feedback. Right after Hawkeye football games, it's the Black and Gold Rush on the rushradio.com, the TuneIn app, and on YouTube.
It's game time at Willis Chevrolet of Granger. We're kicking off September with hard-hitting deals. Drive the legendary Silverado 1500 with 2.9 APR for 72 months, or lease on a 2025 Silverado 1500 Turbo Max for just $349 a month. The all-new 2026 Equinox is on the field with 1.9 APR and no payments for 90 days. Need a value-packed starter? The Chevy Trax starts in the low 20,000s. And don't forget, this is your last month to grab up to $7,500 in federal tax credits on eligible electric Chevy vehicles. Stop in and see us in Granger, or visit us online at willischevy.com.
The best bread is made from scratch, freshly baked with locally sourced ingredients and love. At Big Sky Bakery, we take great pride in our delicious products. We know you'll enjoy them almost as much as we enjoy baking them. Find us at the downtown Des Moines Farmers Market every Saturday.
Back like a rash you thought was gone. Travis and Ross aren't contagious, but they are addictive. It's the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive.
Welcome back to the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive. I'm Travis Justice. He's Ross Peterson, Esquire.
Yeah, right. Now I am.
Yes, because it's his truth. It is his truth. He is a lawyer.
I did want to be a lawyer, Trav. That was my when I was about a sophomore, junior. That was what I was hoping for. But I was so bad at school, dude. I was so bad at getting good grades that I needed to get to law school. So
you had a commitment problem. You had a focus problem.
An attention problem.
Yeah. Yesterday, we talked to Kirk, who was going to the Chicago Cubs playoff game yesterday. He was going to report in at 6:30 and give us a rundown from Wrigley Field. I got an email from him this morning, Ross. It says, "Hey, Travis, I'm going to have to cancel coming on the show at 6:30. It's been a long night, and it's only 4 a.m. No alcohol involved either, just bad hotel."
Oh,
Ooh.
no.
Ooh, that's not
sent
good.
You that at 4 a.m.?
He did. 4:30 a.m. is when it came. So that means he probably
dude.
now but I want to read this email because he gave a synopsis of what happened at Wrigley Field yesterday.
Okay.
He goes, "I will tell you this. The atmosphere yesterday had a very corporate feel. Being a weekday and day game, it had vibes of a Saturday day game against a bad team that most fans didn't care to arrive early for. Following the game, nobody stuck around the area, and police had removed all barricades by 5:45. All streets were open. This is my third time seeing the Cubs in the playoffs, 2015 versus the Cardinals and 2016 versus the Dodgers.
Oh, wow.
Both of those were amazing and electric experiences. I've been to a night game in the middle of the summer where the Cubs were not good, and there was more buzz around and inside the stadium before and after those games. Yesterday was a disappointment. We had thought about going to today's game if it went to a game 3, but after yesterday's vibes and lack of excitement, we are better off listening on the radio or just watching on TV." That's his assessment from Wrigley Field yesterday. And maybe why the Cubs got beat 3-0 by the Padres.
That is a great synopsis.
Yes.
Wow.
Does that surprise you?
Very much so, dude. Very much. And a lot of great context there to say, I've been here before. I was here 10 years ago. I was here 9 years ago. I've been in Wrigley. I have always said that about Wrigley Field, man. You feel that place. There's something magnetic about that place. I really do feel like you could be in Wrigleyville. They could put a blindfold on you, spin you around, take the blindfold off, and you would go, Wrigley's that way. I feel it. Everything's moving that way. It's a magnet of some type. I don't know how you don't turn Clark, Addison, Waveland, Sheffield onto those streets and go, oh, takes your breath away for a half second. And then you get there for a playoff game, a playoff game that they have the chance to seal up the playoff. Win yesterday, you don't have to play game 3.
There should have been more buzz around that than anything. You're like, hey, we got a chance to move on.
You know, maybe not. I totally, Travis, it goes back to that thing, man, of that expectation. You know, in 2015 and 2016, it was new and it was fresh, and you had that hope, and it was like, oh my God, I'm going to be here. I've waited a lifetime for this, and I'm going to be here when this happens. And I wonder, yeah, and I love this. Alan says they were chasing the titles back in that day. And now they've priced out normal people.
I don't know. I mean, he paid $70-some for the seats.
Right. And he did say, remember that he's like on the second, because you even asked him, have you thought about selling these? And he said, no, because I wouldn't be able to get enough to make it worth not having the experience.
I mean, it's such a bad experience for him that he said, I mean, he's there for game 3. And he's going, we thought about going, but after yesterday's experience, we're not going to go back. And obviously a Cubs fan. Obviously a Cubs fan.
Yeah.
But to go, nah, I'm out. We'll just listen to the radio or watch it on TV. We're going to skip it. That is...
You know how on ESPN, Trav, they have it, because I had pulled up the schedule earlier, and you know how they have like the tickets as low as?
Yeah.
$72.
That would be face value for that deck 3 or the upper deck.
Lower than Detroit and Cleveland by $1. You can see Detroit Cleveland game 3 for $73. Now, if you're in Yankee Stadium and you want to watch the Red Sox and Yankees, that's going to be $120. But dude, I have friends in New York. Our buddy Josh Martinez. Do you remember Josh? He worked on Kiss for a long time. Puerto Rican kid that grew up in Brooklyn. Remember Josh?
I never met him, but
I've stayed in good contact. Awesome dude, man. Such a fun guy. Now he's killing it at Z100 in New York. Like, this is a kid that grew up in Brooklyn and wanted to work for the biggest radio station in New York City. And after working in Tinyville, Ohio, Des Moines, Iowa, Cincinnati, Ohio, he's at Z100 in New York, and he's hosting these, million people attending events. It's awesome. He posted the other day, I've got extra tickets. And he wasn't asking $120 for him. He was basically saying, "Hey, I have access to tickets. Who wants to go?" Yankees Red Sox playoffs. Cubs are hosting a wild card series. They're, in fact, a game that helps them move on to the ALDS. And that's the environment. And that's not a cynical Cubs fan, man. That was a guy that was really happy to be there. One of my favorite words when we talk about this, expectation. His expectation was not met. His expectation was that everybody there was going to be as engrossed in it as he was. And he looked around and he's like, man, lots of suits. Not corporate feel. Not literally lots of suits, corporate feel.
Well, and what makes sporting events fun? Sure, it's your team's playing, but it's the electricity and the feel and the vibe and the I'm going to use the word like cult atmosphere.
Good word.
Where everybody's on the same page.
That's what it is, dude.
Yes.
That's what it is. Everybody's wearing the same logo.
Where truly you could be of polar opposites personally, like things we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
But you know what? We're putting our Cubs jerseys on. We're all Cubs fans today.
That's the word. We're all Cub fans today.
We're all Cub fans today. So I wish I understand if you didn't get to bed till after 4:00 because it's noisy in your hotel.
That's
I get
what I'm
it.
imagining he's talking about. Is it was just crazy loud.
Yeah,
I've had that happen one time. A youth hockey team got the room above me.
Oh, and they played hockey all night?
Do you want to know what's worse than youth hockey teams? Youth hockey parents.
Oh. Were they drinking there, eh?
Eli was a baby, and we're trying to sleep. I remember I went up and knocked. I tried to call the front office. Eventually went up to the door and knocked. One of the moms is like, "Can I help you?" I'm like, "Listen, it's like 2 a.m. I got a baby underneath you guys." And she's like, "Oh, that sounds like your problem." Thanks, Mom. They wonder why hockey people get such a bad reputation. Look around, guys. You do this to yourself.
Here's where I'm an idiot, and call me stupid because I get in that playoff mind and that things are always done the same way in every league. I forgot, Ross, and call me stupid, that the visiting team doesn't get a chance to play at home. I mean,
all 3 games are I'll be honest, I did also. Didn't even think about that. When I was on the phone with Courtney last night, I even said to her, "Oh man, now the Cubs got to win at San Diego and the Yankees have to win at Boston." I did say that, knowing I was asleep. I remember that last night.
What are you calling me for?
I remember at one point she was even like, "Hey, are you there?" I was like, "Oh yeah, But I remember saying that last night, and that's all 3 games are in. So yesterday we were all Reds fans for a period of time, right?
Dodgers are putting up runs. They put up 8 yesterday, put up the 10 the day before. The machine is kicking into high gear.
They're running well right now.
But you got 3 series tied at 1 game each. Cleveland and Detroit, I believe, at 2:00 today.
3 playoff deciding games today.
Is it the wild card? Are fans just not fired up about a wild card? Do they like, okay, talk to me when we get to the
Dude, that's a good point.
The division series, or even the.
That's a good point, dude. We're Cub fan. Like, let's look at a Cubs fan in Chicago yesterday, who doesn't have a lot of money, who's not a part of that corporate crowd that Kirk said. Kirk, right?
Kirk.
K-I-R-K.
Like Captain Kirk.
Yeah, Kirk. There you go. Kirk's fired up. Let's look at that. If you're a Cubs fan and compound all those factors, middle of the week, $70 ticket, and you're also looking at it, Travis, as well. Once they win this game, there's not only is there a division series, they win that, there's a championship series. They win that, there's a World Series. We're talking about baseball going into November. I'm only going to be able to afford to go to one or two more games, and I think that idea snowballs inside people's head, and that's what leads to not getting the crowd that you were anticipating to get if you're Kirk. And there's your reasons.
Crazy. Do you think it's that way in New York? I don't. Do you?
I think you're talking about.
I think Yankees Red Sox is completely different.
Yeah,
it changes. We're talking the Padres and we're talking the Cubs.
Exactly.
If this would have been Cubs Cardinals, it's probably a little bit different atmosphere.
Cubs Brewers, where it's geographically you're close to each other and you can get a section of that other team's fans. And just frankly, Yankees and Cubs, while very similar, there's a little bit of a difference there. I mean, again, the tickets are almost twice as expensive to go see the Yankees Red Sox for the same exact series, same exact game today. Same exact game, deciding game.
I want to get to this before the top of the hour because Todd Stepsis is going to join us at 7 o'clock. We need a full hour to talk about this. We may bring it back up tomorrow, but the Big Ten is now considering a $2 billion influx of money from private equity and to form a separate business unit within the Big Ten Conference known as Big Ten Enterprises that will focus on media rights, sponsorships, and other different streams of revenue. And, you know, we heard Brett Yormark talk about private equity when he took over the Big 12, and that really hasn't gone anywhere publicly. Maybe it's still being talked about at the Big 12 level. Now the Big Ten has openly said, hey, we're talking to private equity. We're talking $2 billion. Each team immediately would get a 9-digit payout. As part of this separate business unit, the Big Ten would have a 20% equity stake. And Troy Dannon, former UNI athletic director, who's now the athletic director at the University of Nebraska, kind of touched upon this last week in an interview, Ross, I think it was with the AP or somebody else like that, said, you know, we can put a corporate logo on our jersey, but that's a pittance if you came together and every team in the Big Ten had the same corporate logo. Then you add actual value. I think a good example of this, when you watch college basketball, what do you normally see at every college basketball arena during the regular season? You see State Farm on the standards, right? Yeah. I mean, you go, it's a State Farm ad. And there's more value there. So, you know, Iowa could have John Deere, but if you could come together with every team having the same corporate logo, that's a lot more value.
Every field goal net has Allstate.
Yes. Yeah. It's a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
Now, I will say there's always unintended consequences. Exactly.
Insurance, dude.
They have and then all the agents that go on these wild exotic trips. The only thing I will say, there's always unintended consequences. Always. We don't know what they are until you go, oh, I didn't see that coming. I do know this. When you deal with private equity, they expect a return on investment.
Yep. But only for how long, Travis? How long do they expect to make more money than the previous year?
Never.
Ever. Forever is the
Forever.
Answer. Forever.
Yes.
Hear that again. Hear that again.
Never, ever.
Every year they expect to make not the same.
More.
Not the same. They expect to make more. All right, so then ask yourself, make more of what?
Money.
Whose money?
Your money. In some way, if you have a product that is a sponsor, you're paying for it. And we've seen...
And outside of that, it's not just like Allstate or State Farm are going to say, well, we have to raise insurance rates. No, now they own all the assets.
As part of this deal, and to solidify the Big Ten and a hostile takeover of a super conference,
that's what it is.
The Big Ten is going to propose, according to this report, a 10-year extension of the grant of rights deal, meaning if we take the $2 billion, you all ain't going anywhere.
10 years. You guys got to lock into this thing. And why do they do that, Travis? Because they know that in a couple years, you're going to look around and go, oh, we screwed up. This is the Nick Saban thing, guys. Remember when Nick Saban went to Congress, I said, hey, why is he doing that? Because he knows if they change the rules, Alabama is going to get screwed. Alabama doesn't have a monopoly anymore. So he's screaming about that. That's why do they want to lock teams in for a 10-year deal? Because they know that in 3 to 5 years, you're going to realize you signed a bad deal.
And they're saying, well, we don't want people to go form a super they don't want the super conference to come to them. They want to protect their own entity. Yeah. No, they want to hold you hostage.
Exactly right, Travis. Nailing it.
And
prices will go up. Here's the guys, this I've always said, hey, we make too much about the end of college sports. This is the beginning of the end of college sports. This private equity firms owning this thing, this is the end of it. Because Travis,
But Ross, it's a separate business unit. It's
right.
run separate. The Big Ten will have it's conference stuff where they do scheduling and all that. They don't have any say over that. Yeah. This is just about media rights, revenue streams, and sponsorships.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So let's go through it. Let's just play it out. So we know, number one, they have to make more money every year. Number two, they're now going to own all of the assets. Okay? So how will they? Well, they'll raise prices. People will stop going. Well, they've got, number one, they're going to make more money every year. How are they going to do that? Once they own all the assets, how will they make the money once people stop giving them money? Because people are running out of money, dude. Americans are going broke. Americans are struggling to pay their bills. And the college sports machine will eventually be something that they'll step away from. So what will they do? Because I've got the answer. Do you know what it is? They'll sell the assets, guys.
Or they'll do a hostile takeover.
Right.
I can show you. I will show you private equity firms that once they're not satisfied with what is going on, they do a hostile takeover of said entity.
Yeah.
And now you can try to protect yourself against that, but good luck when.
Let me give you an example. 20 years from now, Dwayne Banks Field could be an apartment complex.
You're not too far off.
I'm not far. I'm using that as an example, but this is the type of thing that will happen. They will own the asset, they'll own the ground, and they'll realize we got to make more money. It's not about the sports. It's about we got ground there that we could make a lot of money off of. So let's build an apartment complex and we'll charge the kids to live there an exorbitant fee, and that's how we'll make our money.
And think about this, because we got to take a break because Todd Stepsis is coming up. What if, and I don't know this, I'm throwing a worst-case scenario out there. You know how, you have Iowa sports radio properties and stuff like that? What if that all fell under this, say, oh, you guys don't get to sell your radio sponsorships anymore.
Exactly right.
We're going to take this all in-house, and we're going to be in charge of all your advertising.
That's exactly right. Exactly. So like Tim says, wait, what is an asset in college football? The stadium?
The colors.
The logo?
The brand. The brand is the asset.
Yeah.
And right now, the Big Ten and the SEC are strong assets. And the Big Ten is saying, we're undervalued, and we want to capitalize on said brand. Yeah. Ross is right. The logo is the brand, is the asset. 515-517-2303. Todd Stepsis, head coach of the Northern Iowa Panthers, joins us next on the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive.
The Rush Radio is now on the free TuneIn app, allowing you to enjoy the show on Apple products and Android Auto. Download the free TuneIn app and search The Rush Radio to take Travis and Ross wherever you go.
You've got enough on your plate, so when it's time to reset, grab a Fresca. Bold citrus, zero sugar, zero caffeine. Just clean, crisp refreshment that never goes out of style, whether it's post-work, post-gym, or just a break from the noise. Fresca's got your back. Pick up a Fresca at your local retailer today.
Your house wasn't built for bats, birds, or raccoons, but try telling them that. At Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions, we've been helping Iowans take back their homes for over 20 years. We use cost-effective, eco-friendly methods to solve wildlife and pest problems the right way. Whether it's bats in your attic, birds in the vent, raccoons in your chimney, or moles in your yard, we have long-term solutions. Call Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions today at 515-218-3400, and let's make sure your home doesn't become their home.
Hey everybody, Mason Miller, sales manager out here at Willis Infinity, and I'm excited to announce some great things we have going on this month. Right now we have retail cash of $10,000 on all 2025 QX80s and $8,000 all 2025 QX60s. For more information, come visit our showroom or online at willisinfinity.com.
After Hawkeye football games this fall, Travis and Ross are right where they belong, with you taking your calls and giving unfiltered feedback. Right after Hawkeye football games, it's the Black and Gold Rush on the rushradio.com, the TuneIn app, and on YouTube.
A fuel choice that even rivals can agree on? Now that's worth the hype. Pump it up with unleaded 88.
The largest selection of German beer in the world? You'll find it at the Hessen House. From Doppelbocks to Oktoberfest to Hefeweizens and Dunkels. There's no passport needed for the deliciously different beer and food at the Hessen House. So grab your friends and make it a fun night out. The Hessen House, 4th and Court, Des Moines.
You know, Brian, at Central City, we really do have the best selection around.
I know, high quality stuff you can't find anywhere else.
Whistle Pig Plantation Rum.
Yeah, and over 150 of the best scotches on earth.
And a ton of bitters, mixers, and more.
You know what we are? High class.
Definitely high class, yeah.
Make way for the natty.
Okay, maybe medium class.
Central City Liquors, home of the 10% cash coupon.
And the Wooden Nickel program.
Back like a rash you thought was gone. Travis and Ross aren't contagious, but they are addictive. It's the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive.
Hour number 2 of the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive. If you're listening on the audio stream at therushradio.com or the Rush Radio Android app or the TuneIn app, thank you so much. If you're watching on YouTube this morning, hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, start leaving your comments in the comment section, and of course, follow us on X, Facebook, and Instagram. I'm Travis Justice. He's Ross Peterson. And every Thursday, we have the good fortune of having a fun conversation. It's about life. It's about a lot of different things, including football.
We even get to football.
We even get to football every now and then. It's our good buddy, Todd Stepsis, head coach of the Northern Iowa Panthers. Good morning, Coach. How you doing?
Hey, guys. Good to see you as always. This is a fun part of my week for sure.
Glad to hear that, Coach.
I sent him,
so you know.
I sent him the link yesterday. I said, hey, it's the same link every week, but I just do it as a reminder. And you said, thanks for the reminder. You wouldn't forget about us, would you? Would you forget about us if I didn't send that weekly email?
No, I wouldn't forget about you, but I do have a fail-safe, and my wife always makes fun of me. If it's on the calendar, I will make it, and I will be early, and I'll be there. Yeah, but if it's not on the calendar, it might be forgotten. So, but I wouldn't forget about you guys. It is on my calendar though, so I've got.
Let me ask: when you say calendar, what do you mean? Because I literally use like the calendar on my iPhone. Is that what? When you say calendar, what is somebody doing that for you?
No, yeah, I mean, I do have people put things on there for me that I need to be at, but then I obviously can add different appointments and different things that I need to be at to it. And then my wife, we have that I think it's called Skylight. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but yeah, we have one of those at the house. That's because cool. Our girls are super involved with a lot of stuff, so that actually helps me figure out where everybody is.
Are you
do you know
allowed
what that
to,
thing? Do you know what that skylight thing is?
I don't. I don't know what
super
skylight.
Cool. It's like an
So,
electronic calendar thing.
Are you allowed to add to the skylight or your calendar, or does your wife say no? You don't get to input anything. We'll tell you where to be. Just the calendar's yours, hers.
I can add some things, but she definitely is going to let me know where I need to be. That's part of the gig.
It's one thing I've learned is calendar management is an interesting thing. As I've moved up the said corporate ladder, and I need more appointments, like with I'm sure your assistant coaches and everybody falls into it. If you need a meeting with your AD, it's probably like, well, what's the calendar? It's like, well, let me check my calendar first, right? I mean, calendar management is time management, but it can be tricky when you have to be 8 million different places in one day.
Oh yeah. 8 million different places, meeting 8 million different people, and the calendar too. Like, you can get real detailed with it if you want, which I kind of like to do. So it's not like where you got to be and what time you got to be, who you're meeting with, what the agenda is. All those types of things really helps just kind of keep you in line and keeps it productive. And again, like the time management piece. I'm a big efficiency guy. I think, I try to create a great work environment to where, hey, coaches that have families, hey, if your son or daughter is playing a sport, right after practice, make sure you get there. If you want to help get your kids to school, make sure you do that. And I think when you can be a little strategic with that calendar and be on it, it does help.
So do you expect your coaches to work like, I mean, what's an average? Because you had the off week, you're getting ready for North Dakota. Obviously, in season's different than off season. What's an average work day for you and then your assistant coach? Because you hear about the 20-hour days, they never go home and sleep in their beds and all this stuff. What does a work day look like for you and your staff?
Every day is a little bit different, but I do have a 9 a.m. rule, and that is nothing starts before then. So now obviously. We're here right now. And so there's, to me, like, there's a balance that needs to be created. And again, like, I'm not saying this is the right or the wrong way to do it, but, I think in order for our team, and when I think about our team, I think of our players, our staff, everybody involved. If you don't take care of yourself and you don't have, time to be the best you can be. So, taking care of family obligations, sometimes it's, boy, if you're a spiritual guy, that's a great opportunity to get into the Bible. Or, hey, if you're a guy that wants to stay in shape, maybe, the morning's a great time to get a workout in. So I want to make sure that the staff has that time in the morning to use how they want to use it. But then, once we hit 9, it is kind of like a sprint, to where we'll all get together, we'll get on the same page. We'll break up into different, sides of the ball, different phases, depending on how early in the week or late in the week, game planning, more in the beginning of the week. And then as you get through the week and you start practicing some of those things, I'm not an ad guy, so that's the other thing. Again, not saying this is right or wrong. We practiced yesterday. That play looked terrible. Cut it. That looked bad.
Okay.
So as you work through the week, you start to evaluate, you watch your practice film. That looked great. Let's put more reps into that. That looked bad. Let's cut it. And then, that's the process you have until you get to Saturday. And then it just kind of kicks all over again. Intermixed in there is recruiting, who's coming to, game days, this weekend, who do we need to call tonight? What kind of graphics do we have lined up for, a big game for, a kid that we're trying to go after? So it's a lot of things. It's a lot of moving parts, but again, practice is over, I don't know, usually around 6 o'clock. And that's, I also encourage coaches like, okay, time to get out of here. Technology, gosh, you can get so much done collaboratively without being in the same room. We have a Google Suite that we'll game plan separately on a Sunday, and then throw different ideas on there. We'll come together Monday, and it just lets us be a little bit more efficient with our time and get things done, and cuts out a lot of the fluff. I think sometimes those 20-hour weeks, it's like, is that really all that important? Like what are we doing here? What are the players actually looking at? What are they what's helping them, and I always laughed, early in my coaching career, we'd have these massive like scouting reports. And then, you look at a kid that's carrying it around. It's like, man, has he opened that thing? So then you start to think like, okay, what's the way, everybody learns, and, maybe this guy likes a scouting report, maybe this guy likes a video, type of thing. But yeah, just, it's packed. It's fast and furious. It's 7 days a week. That's, I guess, we don't do the 20-hour days here, but we do 7 days a week. And so, families, we try to manage that, but, we're all married to, saints. I think I said it on the show, a free pass to heaven for my wife, for being married to me. And if she asked, don't marry a coach, like she's said that a bunch of times.
Delegation and trust. That's what I'm hearing. You've got to be able to delegate these responsibilities to people, trust that they're going to do their job, trust their opinions when they come back to you with those things. I want to go back to that thing of cutting plays out, though, Coach. There's got to be times when, on a Wednesday, you're like, man, I really think that this is something that's going to work against North Dakota or whoever my opponent is this weekend, but the play's not looking right, and you try to muddle through, or is that the point when you go, I was wrong?
Oh yeah. You gotta swallow your pride a little bit.
Wow, that'd be hard.
What's interesting is, especially with social media, I mean, boy, that was a cool play that such and such ran. And, I think that'll work. Or even when you watch it a little bit too, it's you see, they have some vulnerabilities, here in this formation or against this type of look or this route concept or, whatever you're looking at, or, hey, this right tackle, struggles against, this stunt, whatever. And, but then we do a lot of good against good, and when you have some of those wrinkles, that you might want to try out that are maybe a little bit outside your identity, you try it against the number one defense, because you're going to get a honest, full speed reaction. And if it gets blown up, then you're like, all right, let's try this against the scout team. And if it still doesn't look good, then you're just kind of like, yeah, that's not worth it.
Okay.
So I want to dive. You have North Dakota coming up, 2-2 on the year, ranked 15th, I believe, in this week's FCS poll. You talked about game planning. Now I'm gonna bring college basketball into this, because I don't know really how college football works when it comes to game planning. I know not every coach is the same, but like assistants will be in college basketball in charge of a scout of like the next opponent or the next two opponents, right? And they hand that down. And then they come with, the plan, and it's signed off on. When it comes to game planning, do you assign a scout who puts the scouting report together and then puts the game plan together and you sign off on it? How does a game plan come together like this week for North Dakota, which you've had 2 weeks to get ready for?
Oh yeah, great question. And so back to the delegation part, it's not one guy, it's a team, and each position coach basically has his counterpart that he's in charge of. So now these game plans, believe it or not, they start getting formulated in the summer.
That early.
Yeah, and it's not like this, like, hey, this concrete set in stone type of thing, but you go through, typically your conference schedule, but even the non-con, and then the first thing you check is, okay, is the coaching staff the same? Is there, are there going to be some consistencies? Like for us, like even though we haven't played this team or this team, with our team yet, what have they done, last year? And then is there some kind of carryover? So you don't want to get too far into it, because every team is different. You're going to have guys that you featured that have graduated, guys that you're not going to be aware of, so, there's a little bit of grain of salt you take with it, but at least you get a little bit of a foundation of, hey, on defense, they run a 4-3. On offense, they're mainly, one tight, three wides. They're mainly an inside zone team. So you can get kind of the identity down. But, so I can take the offense, for example. Our offensive line coaches, they're really going to study the defensive line. They're really going to study the run game in particular. Okay, so when we line up in this formation, this is the typical front we're going to get. This defensive end is an absolute stud. So we got to either plan to run away from him, or we got to plan to somehow get another body on him. And so they'll look at personnel, they'll look at how they line up, and then different matchups that are going to be problems. You look at the wide receiver coach, he'll do the same thing in the back end, so, okay, this corner, boy, he can cover, but he does not like to tackle. And so, so what do we need to do to cut the split of that wide receiver? Have that receiver go, block the next guy and let that guy, try to make a tackle on a running back. So you look at personnel, you look at maybe different routes that they've struggled with. And then there's a ton of cut-ups too that are really helpful. Okay, here's all the touchdowns that they gave up. Here's all of the the pass plays that have been 8 yards or more, and okay, there are commonalities. Always try to find a rule of three. So if you see a flaw, try to find it a couple more times. So now it's not a flaw; it is a flaw as opposed to just a bust on that play that's not really out of the norm. So all of those, everybody has their own piece. Boy, we come together. And then really, then you start to get into the weeds as far as like, okay, these are the formations that we like. This is our favorite.
Hold on,
run.
you're not into the weeds yet?
Now we're really in the weeds. Yeah.
All right, I got a couple questions for you about this process, okay? But I need to step back a little bit, all right? You remind me very much, Coach. You've definitely got that head coach, CEO kind of personality. And when fans see people like Kirk Ferentz and Matt Campbell, and then you meet a player that's been in the locker room, and those players will say, hey, privately, he's a way more intense guy. Fans have a hard time imagining Kirk Ferentz dropping an F-bomb. But you talk to a player, and they go, oh yeah. Matt Campbell, same thing. Guys in the locker room will go, you have no idea how intense this guy is. Oh, yeah. Are you a cusser?
I am. I try.
It's all right. Us too. Just us gals talking, Coach.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, right. It happens. Now, I do think there's a difference between cursing, but then like cursing at somebody. I think there's now I don't do that. Like, I'm not gonna call somebody something specifically.
But I might say you blankers.
Yes. Yeah, I'm not gonna do that. That's something that I like that. When you start getting personal like that, it's like, all right, is that going to be real productive? But yeah, I actually worked for a guy though there was no cursing allowed, and this is a funny story. But so our first game, we get beat, and so first year at the school, start off 0-1, so I'm kind of like, man, and then defensively, I was coaching defense time, we didn't play very good. And so the next game, we get to overtime, and it's 7-7, and so it's like played really well defensively. I'm fired up, and then our quarterback, he was just taking hits, but kept getting up, and he actually gets destroyed on this pass that gets him down to the 1 in overtime, and then the very next, this is like, I can't believe he was still in the game. It was crazy. And so very next play, what do we call? Quarterback sneak. So here's a guy who's probably like a little bit concussed or whatever, and under center, boom, in the end zone. We win the game. First win at this school. I'm so excited. We get together, and we always would do shout outs like, hey, who played well. And then, I said, our quarterback, man, he's one tough mother. And then the whole team, like, their eyes get real big because they knew the rule, like you can't cuss, and I knew the rule too, but the emotions were flying or whatever. And then sure enough, the next day, like, head coach brings me in the office, like, you can't say that. Okay, yeah. So, but that was a hard one for me. And then when I get home, because my wife cusses too, and I would get home trying to man, I'm not supposed to cuss, so I'm going to try to make this part of my life so I don't slip up again and get in trouble. And then my wife would look at me funny, like darn it, like, shoot, like, who are you right now? And so, it's.
This isn't the man I married. I didn't. Who is this person?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, man, who are you?
All right, so I got a second part of that then, because now that you can cuss, is there a different approach to talking to your offensive players as opposed to talking to your defensive players?
No,
Really?
No.
Okay. All right.
No, I go the same way.
Okay.
Now it is, I do believe, I think, I don't know if this is kind of what you're at, like thinking you can't play both sides of the ball the same way. And what I mean by that is defensively, it's all about getting lined up, playing with leverage, and then lighting your hair on fire and just going.
Yes.
And so it is so emotionally driven, energy, effort, all that stuff. And that's really all that matters. I mean, any defensive coach that tries to get all like, no.
This is exactly, Coach. So when I spent time with Grandview, when they went on their national championship run about 10, 11 years ago, I was lucky enough to go on all the road trips and sit in on all the meetings. And it was one of my favorite things to experience when we would get to a hotel on a road game and the offense would meet for their game plan meeting. And they would go through their scripted plays. And, man, it was meticulous planning. It would, okay, left tackle, when we line up in this formation, if they're in the 4-3, what's your job? I need to cut across that defensive end. I need to push him to the outside. I need to get to the second level. Step, step, step. Then they'd go left guard, center. They'd move all the way around the entire 11 men for every play. And every guy would do that. Then the defense would walk. Then the defense would walk in the room, and it would go, D tackle, what's your job on this play? And his answer was, blow up the guy across from me. They were all chewing. We're just the entire feel of the room would do a 180. It would go from this calm, quiet, meticulously planning thing to, we're gonna blow up these mother blankers.
That's right. I mean, it really is like that. And offensively, it's more controlled aggression. Like, you have to be on that side of the ball. You see it all the time. A guy trying to take somebody's head off on a block, that dude's going to whiff. I mean, he's going to throw the no-hitter. I mean, they're gone. And so it's, you have to still be aggressive. It's a game of aggression. That's just how football needs to be played. But, it's much more controlled. It's not a take a shot because this guy has my back, because if I take a shot and miss this dude's going to blow the play up, so it's less of that. And you're right, more detailed, together, methodical, for lack of a better word.
How long did you last at the place where you couldn't cuss?
Oh, I was there. Gosh, yeah, I was there for a while.
Oh, okay. All right. I thought maybe it was that 1 year.
No, it was good. Yeah, 1 year.
I gotta get out of here, man. You gotta let the peacock fly, man.
It's you gotta adapt and adjust. So
I like that.
It's true.
That
Not
environment,
surprised.
whatever you're in, you got to figure it out. So.
Not surprised that's your answer.
So you got North Dakota coming up. They played a really good game with Kansas State. They're 2-2. I think they lost at Montana State. This is also the start of the conference season. So it starts. I mean, we've always said the Missouri Valley Conference is like the SEC or the Big Ten of FCS football. I mean, this is big time. What do you see from North Dakota, and how tough of a game is this one going to be?
Yeah, I mean, 7 of our 8 games left are ranked teams, top 25. So that is a pretty cool stat. And to be honest, North Dakota is ranked too low. And now they're ranked because their record is 2-2. But to your point, they had Kansas State on the ropes at Kansas State until the very end. Like, it was a 2-minute drive that Kansas State goes on to win the game. And so they did everything. Now, Kansas State was coming off the overseas trip and all that, and so there's a little bit of that, and it was hard to come back from a tough loss. There's some factors that played into it, but it's a really good football team. And then they go out to Montana, which probably rivals our place as far as a really tough environment, and they had a touchdown called back. They screwed around right before halftime, and they could have had a field goal and came away with no points because they ran out of time. And so they lost by 1, again, 2-minute drive that lost it for them. And so it's a really good football team. And the reason they're good is they're solid up front, both sides of the ball. They've got a really good offensive line. The one tackle I think is an NFL prospect, probably going to be a mid-round pick. They've got a pair and a spare running back, which is, something that I think is really important. where, their leading rusher is their quarterback, but it's not because they run their quarterback a ton. It's just because they've got 3 running backs that they come in and they just continue to hammer. And, so that defensively, we're going to have to figure out how to stop the run. And they do play with tighter splits, and we've got some ideas on how to counteract that. But, they do an awesome job of, being efficient on offense, which creates the explosive plays. And then, defensively, it's kind of like your analogy. Offensively, they're very methodical, gain of 4, gain of 5, gain of 3, and all of a sudden gain of 12. And then defensively, it's a blitz every down. They are twisting and stunting and coming after you. And so, we haven't handled pressure on offense very well as far as teams coming after us. So again, part of the game planning is, this team's going to do this to us. And if I'm watching us, so again, looking in the mirror, what have we struggled with? That's part of your game plan too. How do we fix it? What are we going to do? When we see a team that even if they don't do that, they're going to see you struggle against it. And that's what you're going to see.
Yeah.
And so, they do an awesome job of, disguising pressure, getting after the quarterback, and their whole philosophy on that side of the ball is let's minus them. Let's get them off, rhythm, let's get them off schedule. And so, they've done an awesome job of doing that. And then I think they're ranked statistically number 1 in the country in our level in special teams. So they've got great coverage units. They've got, they've housed a kickoff for a touchdown. They've had some big punt returns for touchdowns. So in my opinion, they're 15th, and they should be top 5.
Wow. How's health wise? I know you had the bye week. You guys healthy going into this game?
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
No, that was, we had a really good practice. And again, we do good against good. And, when little scuffles break out, that's awesome. Sometimes you're wondering no, they're competing against one another. It's good against good. And so, neat seeing our running backs back to full power. They were banged up knee. One guy had a knee contusion. Now he's feeling 100%. We're getting a couple of receivers back, which is huge. Our D line still looks great, and so we're ready to go. The team is excited. We talk about defending the dome and being at home, and it's homecoming for us. So a lot of people will be back, and we're excited to get back at it again. It's funny, the 2 weeks are going to feel like the next 8. It's going to go by fast.
Yeah, no kidding. All right, Coach. Well, good luck this weekend. Great conversation as always. And
man, love this, Coach. Thanks so much.
We'll talk to you next Thursday.
Feelings mutual. Thanks, guys.
See you, buddy.
Thanks, man. Coach Todd Stepsis joining us on the Rush Radio Show, powered by
awesome.
Willis Automotive.
I
from calendar management to breaking down, game plans.
See,
got it all here.
When I asked him, do you talk to the offense and defense differently? He's like, no, we treat everybody the exact same. I was glad to hear him kind of clarify, oh, yeah, but there's 2 different things happening there. Yeah. That offense has to be methodical. I used to ride on the offense bus when I was with Grandview, and it was quiet. You know what I mean? It was you sat there. I was able to do homework on the team that we were going to play. I was able to look at, and then you're around the defensive guy, and it was like, head on a swivel. What the hell's happening? I feel like I'm at the fair.
Coach, just tell me who I'm supposed to hit. Just tell me who I'm supposed to hit.
All right, I just hope they don't point at me.
I don't need no playbook. I don't need a scouting report. Just tell me who I need to hit, and I'll go hit him.
We know how to line up, and my job is to blow up the guy on the other side of me.
Remember to pump it up with Unleaded 88. It's grown by corn farmers right here in the state of Iowa. So pump it up with Unleaded 88. Go to iowacorn.org for more. We're going to pump it up with Bruno next on the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive.
I'm loving these wooden nickels, Brian.
Yeah, I suppose everyone is catching on.
Just spend $20 to get a wooden nickel.
It's 25.
Collect 10 and add up the savings on your next purchase.
Some of these are worth $5. That could be huge.
I know, right? That's why you have to spend $20.
It's 25.
Collect 10. It's like money back to you.
Spend 20, you get another wooden nickel.
It's 25.
Collect 10 and add up the savings. It's huge.
Central City Liquors, home of the 10% cash coupon.
And the wooden nickel program.
It's huge.
Hi, my name is John Linares with Willis Lexus, and September is one of my favorite months. I would like to personally invite you to our Willis Automotive new car show on Tuesday, September 16th from 4:45 until 7:30 p.m. It'll be a fun night with friends, food, and beverages. Leading up to the car show, we've specially priced our vehicles for our new car show, and Lexus is supporting us with great low lease rates. For example, a $449 lease rate with $49.99 due at signing on ES. Stop on out or visit us online at willislexus.com.
After Hawkeye football games this fall, Travis and Ross are right where they belong, with you taking your calls and giving unfiltered feedback. Right after Hawkeye football games, it's the Black and Gold Rush on the rushradio.com, the TuneIn app, and on YouTube.
Missing a quality home-cooked meal? You know, the kind Mom used to make? Lucky for you, we found her recipe book. Welcome to the High Life. Welcome to the Champagne of Bars.
Every business has priorities, and Priority One Heating and Cooling is no different. As a service provider, we prioritize quality air conditioners and furnaces that will keep your home at your comfort level year-round. As a small business, we prioritize doing things the right way and treating people fairly. As a truly local business, we prioritize our community. As a veteran-owned business, we prioritize duty and commitment. For big business service with local value, trust your home to the place where you are always Priority One.
Hey everybody, Mason Miller, sales manager out here at Mini of Des Moines, and right now we have some exciting things to talk about. We have our last Countryman SE. We are leasing that as low as $399 a month with $3,800 down. On top of that, we are doing 1.99 for 48 months on all new 2025 Countrymans. For more information, come visit your favorite Mini motoring advisor or visit us online at miniofdesmoines.com.
Rush, strong opinions, weak filters, and just enough sense to stay on the air. It's the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive.
Don't forget, coming up tomorrow on the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive, it's the Iowa Lottery Weekly Woo-Hoo. Your chance to pick up a $90 prize pack from our good friends at the Iowa Lottery with the Weekly Woo-Hoo. And we'll also be giving away a pair of sweet tickets to see Adam Sandler at the Casey Center on Saturday night. You'll be sitting with Ross Peterson himself, Ross Peterson Esquire.
I'll share with you all of my unwarranted opinions.
That's right.
Even if you don't ask, I'm going to tell you what I think about the SEC. I'm going to annoy that. You won't even get to hear Adam Sandler because you're just going to hear me talk about robot umpires.
Could be like, shut up, dude. I'm trying to listen to Adam Sandler. Joining us now, as he does each and every Thursday. He's our friend. He's your friend. He's everybody's friend.
This is what I've been waiting for, honestly.
He is the king of the empire. The king of the empire, Bruno.
Is that okay, Bruno, to say king of the empire?
King of the empire? I tried to bring the empire into the conversation.
I see what you did there.
Yeah,
and that's what I want to talk about.
I feel
because
like I'm a lot bigger deal than that.
I mean, but I love you, Bruno.
What a great line.
Hey, dude, seriously, I hope that the soft opening has gone well for the Empire. I was lucky enough to come down on Monday for lunch. You did not oversell this place at all, man. It is really, really cool. The food was fantastic. My experience there, we were in and out in probably a half hour, had an excellent lunch, and hope. Can you get a feel for the place after so many that you've done here, Bruno? Can you get a feel for how things are going to go with these soft openings?
I think so. Each soft opening is different. You know, I would say for anyone who's ever been in that building before, how many people out of 100 do you think you could blindfold? Take off the blindfold and say, where do you think you are right now?
If standing in that bar, you would never guess it. Never guess it. And I say bar, standing in the counter area, you wouldn't know it. Now, obviously, it still looks like Fong's because it's got the back room, you know, and once you walk in, you turn the corner and you're like, oh, yeah. Yeah, but
there might be a deja vu moment,
decor,
but sincerely, we changed everything and cleaned it up and changed it up. And, I was a little nervous, a little weirded out I always am, and then we put plants in the window, then we put the liquor up, then you start stocking everything, and then it starts to look like a bar instead of a construction site, and it totally changes. The addition of Denise Diaz and Ritual Cafe plugging into us, and now we're the Empire Coffee Shop at 7 a.m. We're open right now as we speak. People can go in and get coffee all through the day, but primarily to 11 o'clock where we wouldn't have even been open. So I'm really excited about that because there is not a local coffee shop within 5 blocks, 6 blocks of where we're at. You know, we used to have Java Joe's, the original roaster / coffee shop in Des Moines. I would argue that I don't know if that was ever a thing in Des Moines. I know that they probably roasted coffee somewhere. You know,
Bruno, I didn't know they roasted coffee at the Java Joe's.
Yeah, the first thing you saw was their big roaster.
I didn't know they actually. I seriously, I swear to God, I didn't know they roasted the beans. Wow.
Yeah. So I think the Tone family in like the 1880s, 18 whatevers.
Oh, like Tone Spices?
Correct. They started out and they did coffee and they roasted it and they did whatever, you know. But I don't believe there were any Tone coffee shops in town. So like in 1991, when Joe Coppola opened up Java Joe's, I don't believe I think that was the first one. And Denise was their manager. And so as we opened the Royal Mile, which turns 24 in December, we got our coffee there. And they had already been rolling for a decade by the time we rolled in. So it's pretty cool that Denise was the manager there. Then she went on, as Java Joe's changed hands, she went on to do her own thing 18 years ago, Open Ritual. And basically the landscape of Des Moines has changed. The offices aren't open. People aren't going to work every day. There's an event in the Gateway Park every other day, and it's terrible for business. That's why you saw Americana decide to they decided to be done. Ritual just couldn't make it. These events kind of crowd out your businesses, so she had to move on. She was doing really well pre-COVID. Then she didn't have that office business, and so she didn't really want to close, and I kind of sensed that. So I talked to her and I said, hey, what if we bought your equipment? And, you know, I toyed with the idea of just kind of setting her up with us, like some kind of thing. And she's like, I don't want to sign a lease. I don't want to be involved with that side of thing. I just, you know, I like making coffee. That's always been her thing. So she likes that. She likes the comfort of being an employee. You know, the fantasy of a self-owned person who does it, self-employed person. The fantasy is boy, wouldn't it be great to go work for somebody?
Oh,
exactly. It's the opposite, and I bet you my fantasy is more true and stronger than anybody so foolish enough to think they should do their own business. I'm quitting and I'm gonna open my own thing.
Well,
it's such a joke. It's a 90%.
That's what we did with this radio show.
Rate.
That's what we did with this radio show.
Well, I understand, but it's about a 90+% failure rate. It's just a fact.
Yeah, we were very fortunate, but to all. I mean, Bruno, you've put so many things in my brain here. Can I just start? So, you've been one of my good buddies for a decade. We've had some of my favorite conversations in the world have been with you. Sometimes sitting on an island or on a boat or something like that. Okay. You've several times said to me, "Hey, I'm same thing that you just said. I'm never signing a lease again. I think this is the last thing I'm opening." And then I always kind of look at that and I go, I know this guy. He's an entrepreneur. He's a thinker. This Empire thing, it was so fun to watch you these last couple weeks because I could see that passion in you firing off of, man, I'm doing something new and fun and exciting again.
But we didn't sign a new lease. We were trying to figure out how we're going to pay our lease.
Okay.
So our passions, we do enjoy it, but I think I've come up with a business plan or an idea 100 times, and we've only executed 10% of them.
Oh, that okay. All right.
And so having these, just because you think people have a desire to see a Scandinavian taco themed whiskey bar, that you think that might be something you're so up your ass you think you can make that happen. Well, you might find out real quick that it doesn't.
Well, I was going to ask you that when you were talking about the soft open, because not everything succeeds, right? I mean, we know that. Was there ever a soft open, or you got into it like even a couple days went, this ain't going to work?
You know, what it is, willful ignorance, blinders on. I don't know if we ever really had that per se. I will say this particular soft opening, if you will, there were folks, the usual, Ross comes in kind of thing, but mostly we were gearing towards the neighbors. We really this is basically
cheers. It's cheers.
Cheers. Well, it's a little bit of a juiced up, version of the library. It's almost not big enough to tell people to come to it.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
So, and we've survived, the library, not survived, but we've thrived with just local neighborhood support with the library because it only seats 35. Well, guess what? The Empire seats 55. So it's not even twice as big as the library. Now we have a little bit bigger kitchen space. We do have some basement storage, which is always helpful, but unnecessary as far as the business is, like how we would run it. The restrooms, the library is really compact, so we have a little spread out here, but for the most part, the square footage and what we can actually accomplish barely bigger than the library.
Or let me ask you something specific about the Empire. So I walk in, we had decided to sit in the back area. And as I walk back, one of the changes that you've also made that is totally different from the previous structure, there is a glass window, Travis, that you can look back into the kitchen. And Bruno, it looked like everything in there was brand new.
Well, there was not a drop ceiling. We put one in. There was the floor is, let's just say, about 5 inches taller. We backfilled. The floor was not level. It was cracked. It was the tile you see in the front, but even worse. We redid the entire stairway to the basement. We put tile up where there wasn't tile before. We put a bunch of fiberglass board. So it's 100%. You can take a fire hose, clean it all down. We didn't have that before. A lot of what, I hate to say it, but a lot of what we did was what we should have done when we opened up Fong's. There was a lot of cleanup, a lot of deep clean, a lot of trapped underneath, a lot of layers of things that we just kind of papered over and opened up Fong's. We didn't do it on purpose, but like the space before us was so, it had been there for over a half century at the time we came in, and it had that kind of funk that there was a definite smell in the air, in the space that, as we were working on those hot days through the summer, we realized we didn't get this completely done. So we started thinking that we'd do a little bit, and we started ripping out more and more and more until we got down to the original flooring and the original walls. And it now
that's always dangerous. That's always dangerous.
Oh yeah, because every time we pulled one off, we're like, oh no. Like you get to the point where like, but there was a spot we wouldn't even have known if we wouldn't have done it, but we pulled the drywall off, and at the bottom the plate was gone, and the studs were like just dangling there because the wood had rotted out. So it's good to get to that, put in fresh wood, and we put in brand new tile all throughout where the main traffic area for a staff's going to be, behind the bar and into the kitchen. We epoxy painted the kitchen. We put carpet in the back room. We did a lot. We opened up the windows. The windows they weren't open for, I'm just going to say for almost a century.
And when you say not open, Bruno, like light not coming through them.
Yeah, they were there. There. And the landlord's like, well, what are you going to do in the winter? Because we normally stuff some insulation into the vent so it doesn't, the cold air doesn't come in. And her dad looked at it because I just explained what we're going to do. And her dad said, there's going to be windows there now. Like, we're going to have a full double pane window facing the alley. It's not a great you can't really see out. They're very high. There's one spot where you can, if you're a little taller, you can see out, but there isn't. It's not for the view, but the natural light that comes into that room, it has fundamentally changed how the feel of the place just feels so nice. It's been completely transformed. I'm always an advocate of like, well, let's be thrifty here, let's save. But there's sometimes when you try to save, there is I catch myself, I make fun of people who do it, but I catch myself jumping over dollars to get nickels. And you got to not do that. And so nothing's better in construction, I'm sure Travis knows, you got to rip it all out and start fresh, because trying to build on something bad, that's the foundation screwy, all it ends up is just, you're going to end up wanting to rip it out totally later. So,
yeah.
But I want to make sure I say one thing about this. So we realized, I walked in, we had a new partner, Don Short, West End Salvage. We walked into that space one day, and I wanted to show him after he had bought in and talk about what we should do. Andy, my partner, had this vision. We should probably go to the Peachtree space. And I'm like, you're crazy. We're here. This is what people know of Fongs. So I went in and I sat there, and the lights were kind of flickering. In my mind, it feels like the lights were dim. There was all sorts of nonsense happening in the space. There was spots that needed to be really desperately cleaned. There was like pipe event that had I didn't even notice it before, but they had stuffed a rag and then spray foam so that it would not, so the air, and I'm like, what? I'm showing him, and every time I turn, I'm like, I was getting more and more embarrassed, and then I realized maybe we do need to do something. And then we had these nice ladies in the basement, getting prepping the food, but it's in a basement. And you're like, this isn't how it's supposed to go. So we took and moved Fongs to what I would consider a cathedral of space. It's open air, beautiful. The kitchen is huge, ready for business. Everyone that works in the kitchen is on the same floor, facing each other. They can work together. That's just more efficient. Back when we were at the original at the Empire, we didn't have enough. There's not enough room to get all that. I don't understand how we did the business we did before.
You served good food. That's how you did the business you did before.
Atmosphere,
great service, atmosphere, great. I do want to you brought up Fongs. I want to ask this. I know Portnoy's review came out. What was it, late last week or this weekend? Have you seen a bump from that yet, or is it too early from that?
I think it's a little too early, but I don't know. It's really cool that it did. It's funny how he gets. I don't know. Does he do this through the year? But through college football, it seems like he gets way backlogged.
It's nonstop with him in the pizza reviews. I mean, it's just. I mean, that's his shtick. That's how. I mean, he probably Barstool is famous, but I think doing something so oddball like this propelled that brand even farther, just because of the way he did it.
Well, I'm glad that
it's odd that this delay is kind of strange to me, and I know there's a reason for it. Is that what you're talking about, Bruno? Like, he did this like a couple weeks ago, right? And then now the Des Moines stuff's getting released.
Well, and fair enough. I mean, at the end of the day, really, just because he's in town doesn't mean like, hey, everyone needs to know this, because everyone that's in town for the Iowa State game's now going to go to Fongs. I mean, that's not the case anyway. I would hope that they figure that out, that people will come to Fongs. I've heard that that's what happens. I know that this has happened before when we've been on TV shows on Food Network and stuff, that you get busy afterwards. There is every reason to go to Fongs right now. It has been transformed. It's back kind of where we wanted it to be. And that was part of that move. And so we realized we had to move. And then we realized, well, what are we going to do with the old place? And we've reduced staff so that we can function in the space. We went to counter service so that we could have less employees and be more efficient. We went to how we serve and how we do the counter service. Everything we do there is set up to offer pricing that is kind of almost crazy. I've heard more people mention about that place beyond what it looks like. They've said, I can't believe the prices. The prices are all the foods between $5 and $10. All the drinks are between 4 to 6. I mean, I would say a substantial amount of both are between those numbers. You can get a beer. You can get an Old Tavern lager for $4, 12 ounce. You can ask for a second one for $2 and get 24 Empire size. You get 24 ounces of beer for $6. So,
damn. Hey, what was this? What was this soccer thing last night? Nashville beat Austin or something like that? I'm going to give you a chance to pontificate on some cup that was won last night.
Well, you got me on that one. I noticed that it was. I noticed it was playing. I wasn't. I didn't pay attention to it. I don't know enough about those teams. Although Nashville is pretty good. They have one of the best players in the league. But I don't. Is it the CONCACAF Cup, or was it?
That's what I was relying on you for. Yeah. I was relying on you. Your soccer expertise. You are a soccer correspondent.
I was watching Olympico or whatever it is, the Greek team versus Arsenal, and my app had an error, and I never went back to soccer yesterday. So that's as far as I got. I know that Arsenal, I think, won. Of course, they probably did. They're pretty good. I didn't catch, and I saw there was a Austin match. I've had a cold, so basically all I could think of is I just want to do nothing.
I noticed that, Bruno, when I was with you on Monday. Is that when I walked away from that? I even said to Courtney, I said, I think what happens with Bruno is this is kind of like an adrenaline dump. It doesn't happen for you super fast like it does for a lot of people. But I have noticed this kind of rhythm, man. You are pot committed, dude. You are all in on the Empire. It's every day. And then when you open it up, that's what I kind of, I thought I was picking up on that of your thing of like, I finally get a chance to breathe and my body has to catch up.
When we do open it up, and I did actually as a joke, I was like, I like, see you later, suckers. Like the night, like after, like late night, one of those, because it's sort of like, it really is in my mind, I'm done. Like, this is the part where I hand it off. This is the whole point of how we do it. But I'll tell you what did it is I had a 35-mile round trip bicycle trip up to Oktoberfest with Mindy in the heat, and I had 6 beers that day, which is about 5 more than I normally would have. And I think I just burned myself up that day. And then on top of which, we're opening these places. I've been
burning the midnight oil,
having to shave a lot more because I've been on television a couple times, doing what I'm doing right now, just blabbing. And I don't know, maybe I wore myself out a little bit with the Empire, but for the most part, it would be disingenuous to say that anything that's happened in the last couple weeks was put me into this cold based on the Empire, because the people like Kathleen and Brent that are running the place, Steve-O and Dennis and Nick, Denise, all these folks are putting in all this time and making it happen. They are the ones that are getting kind of overrun. But now we're open. This is the part where it sounds crazy, but this is the easy part.
No, I get that. I get that.
Because we've done it so much, because there's the variables are all like, you've gotten rid of all the unknowns. All the unknowns are gone. What we have some walls that aren't covered yet. We put some stuff up yesterday. We'll be putting a little bit more. I don't know what it's going to exactly look like when we're done, but it'll look even better than when we started. That's always fun to see happen. But for the most part, they're making the food. I've had the food, and I haven't eaten a lot of I guess I ate pizza at Fong's, but I already had that before. But the food, I'm like, okay, I'll try that one. Okay, I'll try that one. I tried a bunch yesterday again. The food is so good. It's just what it is. It's a grinder. It's a coney dog. It's hot beef. It's a Chicago beef. Now the beer rocks are new, but they're still kind of a thing I know.
So good to do that. And it's
the
called the Empire.
The pot pie turnovers are so good. I've had them. I've had a lot of the food, and it's really good, and it's made in house, and it's cheap. I'm going to say the word cheap. It's inexpensive, doesn't dent your pocketbook, and you can go there for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So it's kind of fun. We've never done coffee before. That's kind of a cool thing.
Hey, real quick, events coming up. Did we miss Little Giant, or is Little Giant coming up?
This weekend.
It's this weekend.
This on this piece of paper from a bag, I have. We didn't get talking points because Steve has been busy. We have the Little Giants this October 4th from 3 to 7 at the library. Or at the library. I'm wearing the library shirt. At the El Bait Shop, we're going to have the Little Giant. I think that's got to be one of our about 20th here soon. We turned 20 at the Bait Shop this May.
Wow.
And then we do have the Oscar Wilde at the Royal Mile on the 15th, which is a celebration of the writer. They have a good time. We do a Robbie Burns night in January for the Scottish poet. This Oscar Wilde one in the fall is always fun. So get signed up for that. You got to go to the Royal Mile website and get information on that. Little Giants 3 to 7 this Saturday. Should be a lot of fun. Supporting local small businesses, Iowa breweries. It's been fun to do that, and I'm looking forward to working with. Now I can internalize. I can start paying attention to what's happening already in our places, and I will tell you that 26 for me is going to be very much a craft beer year. It's been a struggle for the craft beer industry, but there is every reason to still drink craft beer, support local businesses.
I like that.
And,
Good.
And it's a lot of fun. There are just a lot of folks out there doing really fun and creative things. And I love to support that. And stay tuned. We're going to be doing a lot more craft beer stuff this coming
I'm going
year.
to be down at Little Giant Beer Summit at some point during that 3 to 7 time period with lead singer of Curse of Hail, Ken Payne.
Ooh,
there you go.
That's you don't get to see him out very often without the mask. No, that's fun. My mom, I'm going to try to get there. It might be towards the end. My mom it's her 35th. It's her 75th birthday this year.
Oh, happy birthday!
We're getting together to celebrate her 3/4 of a century. See how that goes. She usually gets pretty drunk, so.
Nice. All right, buddy. Have a good Little Giant. We'll talk to you next Thursday, bud.
All right. I'll see you. Take care.
Bruno joining us on the Rush Radio Show powered by Willis Automotive. Fun Thursday. I want to thank Todd Stepsis for coming on. We want to thank Ross Peterson, Esquire, and everybody who listens to the show. We very much appreciate it. And Bruno, I'll be live from Phoenix tomorrow morning.
I didn't know this.
You knew I was going out of town.
I did?
Yeah, you just didn't listen. You may have to run some of the other buttons.
I listened. I just didn't care.
Okay, that's fair. But I'll be live from Phoenix tomorrow morning.
All right, man.
So you may have to run.
Yeah, I'll be fine with that. You bet.
Okay.
We'll figure out the audio stuff.
Owen's going to be with me, so maybe I'll have an engineer on site.
Oh, I do remember what you're doing down there.
Yeah.
Can we talk about it tomorrow?
Yeah, we can talk about it tomorrow.
Okay,
we can
good,
talk about it tomorrow.
Good. Super exciting stuff.
It is the Rush Radio Show powered by Willis Automotive.
It's Body Armor. Real hydration with electrolytes. No artificial dyes and coconut water. Choose better. Body Armor.
With over 260 beers on tap, El Bait Shop isn't just another craft beer bar. It's the best. Beer lovers know El Bait Shop, 200 Southwest 2nd, Des Moines.
There's a new spin on casual dining near Drake University. Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers. Craveable faves, flatbreads, delicious burgers, frozen cocktails, and a crazy cool vibe. Get to Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers today.
Are you thinking about buying a home this year? Start by getting pre-approved with Gary Presnall at Northwest Bank in Des Moines to see how much you can qualify for and what loan programs meet your needs. Gary can get you pre-approved in 30 minutes or less with a pre-approval letter to you. Gary offers first-time home buyers programs, VA loans along with FHA, IFA, and conventional loans. Call Gary at 515-975-6767 or find his profile at nw.bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
After Hawkeye football games this fall, Travis and Ross are right where they belong, with you taking your calls and giving unfiltered feedback. Right after Hawkeye football games, it's the Black and Gold Rush on the rushradio.com, the TuneIn app, and on YouTube.
The wait is over. The end of summer closeout on 2025 models is here. The most popular 2025 Nissans are priced to move, and we've got something for everyone. From the economical Nissan Kicks to the family favorite Pathfinder or the rugged Frontier, your perfect match is here. Get incredible savings, low financing, and limited time offers before the year ends. But don't wait. Once they're gone, they're gone. Stop into our showroom or visit us online at willisnissan.com.
bread is made from scratch, freshly baked with locally sourced ingredients and love. At Big Sky Bakery, we take great pride in our delicious products. We know you'll enjoy them almost as much as we enjoy baking.
Looking for the perfect golf escape? Experience Links-style golf right here in Ames at Coldwater Golf Links. With rolling fairways, large greens, and unique routing, it's golf the way it's meant to be played. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, you'll love our course's welcoming atmosphere and friendly staff. Grab your clubs, book a tee time, and make every round unforgettable. Coldwater Golf Links, where great golf leads to great memories. Visit coldwatergolf.com to book your round today.
Back to the Rush. Strong opinions, weak filters, and just enough sense to stay on the air. It's the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive.